Alright folks, thanks for watching those commercials, but that segues us directly into the finals. It's a best of 5 TVT, and you're watching the OlimoLeague. The OlimoLeague, of course, is brought to you by, well, probably you. If you guys are supporters of the Patreon program, it's what creates this tournament. It's what allows it to run weekly, and without your constant support, we wouldn't be able to do this. We have officially, at this point, reached all the milestones with the OlimoLeague. So I don't even know what happens with the extra cash. Maybe Olivia just burns it? I don't know. But if you guys are ever curious about getting involved, always look for OlimoLeague in chat or follow her on Twitter at OlimoLeague. And all jokes aside, she does take very good care of all the money she gets that goes towards this tournament. So thank you to everybody who's been involved to date. But now we hop into the finals. Spawning in the top left corner of the map is going to be the Red Terran player Gumiho.
In the bottom right, as the Blue Terran, it's Supernova.
Okay, so these are two guys who have definitely played mech TVT before. They're also two guys who are very adept at playing bio TVT. I don't really know which way this will go, but every time we've had a TVT finals for the OlimoLeague on Acheron Waste to date, it's been like a 5-minute game because somebody's Reaper dies too soon, and that's it. Bob's your uncle, or it's cheese, or just other horrible ways for this to end. I'm kind of fingers really crossed here for a good game because Marine Tank's definitely a viable, possible option, but it's again, the last like 3 times we've been on Acheron in the finals that it's been TVT, it's been messy.
I did want to note, like, just kind of on the topic, Supernova did scout pretty extensively around his base. It's a whole little bit less of the fog of war around there.
Holy moly, is slowing down the game.
She dropped her lighter while she was burning the money, and now it's like lighting the place on fire.
The interconnection is
it's
a little too hot.
It's kind of a coincidence in timing, guys, with the 3-minute delay. I'm just saying. Anyways, yeah, he was well aware that Gumiho could try something right off the bat in a best of 5, and he scouted for it.
Man, this command center, this earlier command center, we've talked about this a little bit in recent days, and this is always something that can be risky. I don't think it's something that's always going to be risky. It really depends on what your opponent does, but to take this early with a reactor, especially out of Gumiho, like this is playing greedy. This is just playing so greedy.
If there was a 2x Reaper like about to hit him, he probably would just die.
Yeah,
but there's not.
Tag out.
Yeah, it's, you know, well, you definitely tag out when you 14cc against a proxy Reaper. We've seen that happen twice now. That's the saddest TVT that's ever happened. But it's regular build for Supernova. It is going to be more aggressive, obviously, but it looks like it's going to be a drop. Yeah, some variation of a drop. Because there's no oh, I thought that was a reactor, so it could still be a Banshee. My bad.
I mean, 1-1-1's not that uncommon, but yeah, the Banshee seems a lot more possible. But it's Supernova. This guy uses tanks, right? So like, it's the one opportunity you're like, well, maybe it actually is going to be tanks, but. This is a little bit of a snowball effect already underway. This Hellion, the Marine, the Reaper, they're gonna kill the 2 Marines at the top of the ramp. They're gonna kill this SCV here at the bottom.
Yeah, I thought those 2 Marines doing their job and attacking like the Reaper on the low ground. No, they're attacking the freaking destructible rocks. Like, come on, the debris.
Is it debris? No, it's rocks. It's rocks here. This is the Dustin Browder map.
Well, okay.
Rocks and rocks and rocks.
I guess everything is destructible rocks in here. All right, so. But it's really important that Supernova didn't catch this before the command center was finished, but it looks like he might just win the game anyway. No, there's 2 Hellions.
If this wasn't a reactor factory, this would be game over, but this is still going to be painful. Stalls out the starboard. That's going to sting for a time.
Yeah. It's really too bad he couldn't stall at the command center on the low ground, just like 3 seconds away from being able to kill the SCV before it finished. But
I mean, there's too many things that already went right for him, okay? Can we just...
Yeah, he can't be perfect, okay? We'll see if his luck continues as the Banshee does pop out right now. Is Gumiho thinking of a Banshee? Yeah, apparently he is. He has Engineering Bay. He's getting a Viking. Cloak could still hurt him if the turrets are in the right position, but you know, usually you do follow up with a Raven shortly after.
It's really nice too. Didn't even have to leave the Banshee to stay and finish. But with these 2 other Hellions, you might just want to keep it at home. The opportunity that wasn't available for Gumiho, or for Supernova, certainly is available for Gumiho as he gets on top of this SCV. Will stall out the command center. Not going to kill it. I mean, Hellion damage for his buildings is laughable at best, but still definitely annoying. Cute micro control on both sides, by the way.
Seriously. Very good.
Cloak kicks in at the right time. Floats right past that Banshee. There is going to be a scan available. Actually, there's a turret there too.
Supernova sees that, and he'll know, well, he has to decide, you know, it's either sack his Banshee on as many SCVs as possible, or actually try and get out of the range, the scan.
The stealth jukes have been hilarious, by the way. Here comes those 2 Hellions, though. And, yeah, they actually could run out of there. Still, though, I mean, whittling with the SCV count, this is something where Gumiho took his command center so much sooner. He should have a much larger SCV count at this point, but it's not that 5 workers have been killed, it's that he hasn't been able to continuously build them while this has been going on.
One player has decided to go for mech. Will the other one?
Yeah, Supernova. I'm not too surprised.
Mech versus mech. Let's do it. He's getting a Banshee so late that I want to say yes, he definitely is, but we've seen pretty late stims before in TVT. I've seen 10:30 stims that apparently work out.
Banshee. Okay, quick cloak, really fast reaction to Supernova, minimizing that damage. Hellions are being repaired up, but I mean, still, these kind of glass cannon type units, as they fight one another, they don't have a lot of health and they deal way too much damage. So, has to be really careful. That's why Gumiho's on the retreat. Where Supernova still, it's not a situation where you just have more Hellions and win. A lot of it's the angle of attack, because the attack's so slow. If you just get that one sick blast, it can mean the whole world of difference.
Yeah. Gumiho definitely going to go for mech with that reactor on the building on the barracks, and I'm wondering, should he not just take a lot of damage here? Okay, he's not going to. If he's going to put that on the starport after the Banshee and the Cloak is done, go for like a lot of Vikings, get the Viking control.
Little run by the natural. Could have been much worse. It's always scary when the Hellions there, but Widowmine's the Raven. They clean this up.
Where's the second factory? Oh, that's Supernova, sorry. Still looking to
Yeah, Gumiho doesn't quite dedicated to one or the other yet, and it is getting a little bit concerning because you get into that time where, okay, if it's 14 minutes of the game, you can't viably start stim anymore. You'll be forced into mech, and if you don't have production up, then you don't want to play mech.
It's a little too late. I'm really wondering about this reactor and what it's going to go on. Is going to, like, you know, double pump Hellions, put a factory on it, and just play a macro game because he is getting a 3rd CC, or is he going to try and get that air dominance? Has he realized that it's mech for Supernova? And is he going to go mech himself? I think with the amount of Hellions they've both seen from each other, they both kind of figured that one out. Did he? Yep, he did swap it over. All right, so we might have the most important thing in this game might just very well be who wins out the Viking War.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the Vikings will land and add so much extra to the fight, but walking up this ramp into the Hellions like this, not going to be preferable. Even with Blue Flame on his side, Superman's got to be careful about this.
Yeah,
Banshee
you think Blue Flame would just demolish it. There is a couple of Vikings.
See, that fight went from being like really heavily in the favor of Supernova to like getting out with 3 Hellions. Like, bad.
The surround is sick.
Yeah, it surrounds all 3 of them too. Like, this should have done so much more for Supernova. A little bit distracted, rightfully so. Back at home, the defending Vikings landed. That Banshee did quite a few kills. I mean, Supernova's SCV count is quite frankly in the gutter at best.
Yeah, I was just noticing. At one point they were even, but what's going on? Oh.
The dance, you know, I'll land, you fly, and then you fly, I land, and almost gets the Raven for it.
Supernova has like this one push, it looks like, to try and win the game. So unfortunately, we'll be seeing that tank versus tank battle. And honestly, I mean, the Vikings can still play a crucial part. I mean, if Supernova wins the Viking War and has 1 Banshee, no, that probably still wouldn't do it either, because the missile turrets would be would be just enough to help Gumiho stay alive. And he's on 3 CC. Like, if he stays alive, he probably wins.
Easier said than done. This fight at the top of the ramp, that concave is really nice for Supernova, or sorry, for Gumiho, but Supernova can't quite push it. He's lost the most of his forces. The Vikings are still on the air because if they land, they're probably going to die. So just letting the Banshees do what he can on the low ground. Not a bad choice at all. Vikings starting to pick up in the air, though. Might be a little too late. If he still wins this air fight, then the Banshee's going to eventually win out this game. As weird as that is to consider, it's so very just barely.
It's probably not, though. Like, that would be the only, like, you know, oh my god, super sick scenario, but he's still producing Vikings. It's not like he lost all of his SCVs and, like, a base trade. There's missile turrets. In the very worst case scenario, he goes back into his mineral line like this.
Yeah,
Supernova's making a game out of it, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot more scrappy than expected, too, but the problem is, like, you know, Supernova's not overwhelming, and that's where I think this starts falling apart, but he's killed enough SCVs to finally bring himself back into this game properly.
True.
Beforehand, it was a little bit scary because he was so far behind, but 23 SCVs killed is a nice number to have.
Yeah, I mean, with that concave, I thought this was going to be beaten back, but he just usually gets that's somewhat of a lead, all right? So it's 6 SCVs ahead, but his 3rd CC isn't done. It is on the way, so he has, you know, realized, you know, maybe not enough damage to warrant a macro game. I think he certainly has, but it is a little bit behind. Gumiho will catch up in that acidity count, no problem, again.
I love how scrappy mech versus mech can be, though. Rather than that one big death ball that ends the game, we've just seen this big trade back and forth, and it's definitely still like Super's got little bits of things going for him. He's got a blue flame. He's taking better engagements. And Gumiho had opened his earlier command center, but never got a big lead. Now Supernova takes his third. It's been really back and forth, and I'm loving the heck out of this. But I do think Supernova is starting to get to a point where he's going to be really, really well set. If he can control the air, that's what's going to matter the most.
Yeah. It's kind of come back to just like perfectly even terms. Army supplies even, bases are even, upgrades are even. There's no upgrades. It's actually looking really like a really nice long game, and it's mech versus mech on Accolon. So if it gets to like the mid game, is it going to go to that 40-minute point? I don't know.
If he lands one of his Vikings on the backside and runs the Hellions to the ramp at the same time, he's going to wreck everything if Gumiho wastes a shot. That was the only way I think he can really get up here, though.
Yeah, I don't think he should know that he doesn't have to, though, right? Like, he's 30 seasons.
Oh, you know what? I take it back. There's another way to force a fight, and that's with the tank.
Gumiho is going to have a Thor out, so it looks like he's really trying to get that air superiority, hoping that Supernova makes one small mistake, and thus his Vikings dominate. Because he's getting a lot of Banshees right now. This is the first one. The second one's on the way. Could get third and fourth one, too, if he really thinks he'll win out in that air war.
Well, he's definitely got the lead in a big way. 9 Vikings over 4. It's going to be really hard to overcome for Gumiho. I mean, the Thor helps a little bit, but its damage versus armored units is so not good. Yeah,
you'd really have to ball up for Supernova to lose this fight. Now this puts Gumiho in kind of a bad position. He will have to rely on just scans. Maybe he'll keep on setting cloaked Banshees in to win, but
I don't like the start of the fight for Supernova. He was really clumped up, loses a lot of the Hellions for this, but the Vikings are going to land and try and hold. Siege Tank still shelling away for what they can. Vikings training for Vikings, but on the ground and not the air. Like, what world do we live in? But looks like with those 2 tanks still standing, he'll hold on to this.
I'm so confused, Rifkin.
I know, they got so messy so quickly. Actually, let 2 of the Hellions slip away. What? The SCVs can kill this. Poke it. It's got 1 health. The Thor, though. The Thor might just be a little too powerful. I thought those 2 tanks were going to hold, but we look away for 1 second. They dissipate. They disappear. They still got away with his Banshee.
I did run out of cloak, so the 2 Vikings, should they not clump up, will probably take it down before the Thor takes them down. Thor's anti-air, sometimes just really dumb. Thor does a really nice versus damage, though. Thor drops anyone? Yeah. How about drops, however? Might just be enough.
I like this on Siege thing. Everything is just trading out back and forth. Like, this, I've never... What? I'm getting my wish. This is like my Christmas wish, right? That we would have this game that didn't end in 5 minutes, but it's been like the same scenario where they're both walking away with like 1 unit each. No one's really coming out as a true survivor here.
It's very odd. Now, Gumiho probably took the better engagement. At the end of the day, he took the better engagement. He has a lot of bank. He's going up to a 4th CC. His upgrades are just a little bit further ahead, and his SCVs are up now. So in pretty much every single way, he is ahead. The problem is that it is mech versus mech. So as long as there's an overwhelming amount, tanks make TVT really fun. They are the units that bring back games where you're slightly behind.
But, okay, so we talk about him taking a better fight, but it's one of those also scenarios where doesn't matter because he didn't walk away with enough. He didn't deal enough damage to the economic line. I mean, if this was a scenario where he killed Gumiho or Supernova's army but kept like 7 of his own tanks, yeah, that's a great engagement. But as nullifying as that was, they're both kind of going to just resupply in the same, very similar units. And I think this is where the game really starts coming down to decision making more than actual unit compositions. Because up to this point, it's been like, do I have enough Hellions? Do I have enough Vikings? Air superiority versus losing out the blue flame. But now that it's going to have tanks, positioning becomes so much more key, and nobody can just walk into each other's army anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, pretty much, I think, like, 20 army supply is usually good, maybe, like, 30 army supply, in fact, whether it's mech versus mech, is, like, a good way to judge whether or not you could probably, like, win just straight up by, like, rolling over your opponent. Anything less than that, tanks are going to make up for that, no problem.
I didn't even realize just how much of an income lead Gumiho's had over the last 10 minutes, by the way, but he's been, like, toppling Supernova here on the charts.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is that Gumiho, while tanks, they bring you back into a game. This game will probably go on to 4, even 5 bases for both players. Gumiho's going to have that edge earlier. He's going to have extra orbitals earlier. He actually has the option to go into maybe the tech switch into battlecruisers faster.
Oh man, it's seriously not been since Chaos versus Happy I've even seen something similar to that, but I would love to see that at the high level that these guys play at. But looks like they're gonna both rotate around the map, and this is a scenario where Gumiho's gonna see there's no defense, Supernova's gonna see there's no defense, so they're both gonna lose bases for it. But I think Supernova's in a much worse position because this base hardly connects to the expansion, this base hardly connects to the production, whereas Gumiho's gonna go right through that natural and completely shut down any future production as Supernova. Supernova actually very badly supply blocked right now. Oh my god, I didn't realize 145 max supply. This is going to kill them more than anything else.
Yeah. Has to waste some time actually shelling away the planetary as opposed to just using the, the unsiege tanks.
His supply, he needs to lose the SCVs, as weird as that sounds. Like, he has to get some sort of unit count up here in his main base if he wants to hold on.
Yeah. Gumiho has a lot of time to, ball up his own reinforcements. He can at least hold his natural. Looks like Supernova has recognized that he needs to get into the production line quickly, and Gumiho, I think, made a mistake trying to hold his natural. Really, he had just stayed in the main. He definitely would have been able to.
Yeah, because if it comes down to a race, he starts winning in this instance.
Yeah.
Albet's cleaning up his SCVs too, but for Gumiho's sake, like Supernova's not exactly rushing up here to the main, so what little units he has is not going to break this ramp. But I think Gumiho's got this. Yep. Good game, ladies and gentlemen. Gumiho takes game number 1 in this best-of-5 finals.
Very cool game. If Supernova had just stayed home and defended, he probably would not have died.